Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your HomeCourse ProRack. Your first step is going to be lay everything out from the box. Here you're going to see we have the unit laid out as it would be. Here you have the tools and all the screws and the hardware, and then the instructions as well. These are all the things you're going to need to set up your ProRack. So let's get started. You're going to see that all these areas here include numbers on them. All the numbers correspond to each other. Your first step is going to be to set up number 1 with number 1. Here we have all the hardware that we're going to use for this ProRack, as well as the written instructions. What I'm going to take you through in this video is exactly what's in these instructions, just so you can see it visually. Our first step is going to take one of these pieces here, one of these screws here, and we're going to use it to join the bottom piece with the arms. I'm going to take 2 of them, one for the other. Now that I have the right hardware pieces and the right tool, we're going to start by setting up each of the first arms. We're going to take the number 1 and we're going to match it with the number 1. Now, we're going to take the screw and we're going to go from the inside to the outside. What's great about these screws is that they're self-containing, which means that there's the holes big enough on this side that it'll hold it. You don't have to hold it with another side. You could just turn and tighten with one hand. Now that we've attached one arm, we're going to go ahead and do number 2. And remember, we're going to go from the inside to the outside with these first screws. So now that we put together the base arms, we're now going to put together the arms that hold the screen. We see we have a number 4 here, and this number is going to match the number 4 that's on one of the arms. Now that we have number 4 attached to number 4, we're going to move on to the next arm. For these arms, we're going to use 2 sets of screws, not just one. Here we can see that the number 3 corresponds with the number 3. It's very important that we leave this one space open here because that's going to be for the bar. Now that we've put the arms in place, now we're going to start by adding the supporting arms. You're going to use 2 screws and 2 of these black washers, as well as the new tool to put these into place. Again, we're going to look at the corresponding numbers. Number 5, number 5, number 6, number 6. We're going to start with number 5. For these support rods, we're not going to need to use a washer. We're going to go from the outside in, and these screw directly into the rod. Once we've placed 5 and 5 together, we're going to move to the other side to do 6 and 6. 6 and 6 to finish off. Outside in, we're going to put the screw in first, making sure that the curved spot goes to the retention rod. And now we're going to tighten. You'll know that you've done it right when you look at the numbers at 6 and 6, 5 and 5, and the HomeCourse logo is legible. Let's move on now to the next supporting element, which is the top one. But before we do that, to make it easier for us, we're going to lower the ProRack. This is going to help us not only put the top up, but to put the other supporting rods up, as there are screws underneath and on top. It's pretty easy to do. You just have to tilt it down. And there we go. When we put these on, we're going to make sure that the numbers match up. Here's a 7 and there's a 7, and here's an 8 and an 8 on that side. Now we're going to grab our screws. Just as we did with the previous one, we're going to go out to in. And we're going to put the washer this way. Before we tighten this totally, we're going to make sure to leave it a little loose so we can go to the other side and make sure that we can fit the washer inside as well. 8 and 8. Now that we have the second horizontal support rod, now we're going to work on doing the bottom support rods and then the top support rod. They are the exact same way, out to in. I'll show you now. We grab 2 more of our tools, and we're gonna look back here and look for the number 9 and 10. Here we see number 10, and under here we see number 9. So we're gonna look for our rod, have it here, and again, we're gonna go outside to in. Go outside from the bottom, through, going to get our washer, put it on as such, and then we're going to get our number 10 piece, match it with our number 10 piece, and we're going to screw it a little bit as we've done in the past. Making sure to leave it a little bit loose so that we can get our other piece in. Now that that one's in, we're gonna move to the next one. And again, the same idea, out to in. So from the top, we're gonna come down and in we go. So now we're gonna finish up tightening this one here. Now that we've put one vertical supporting rod, we're gonna move to the next vertical supporting rod, which are numbers 11 and 12, and you can see them here and here. Remember, we're gonna go outside in. So outside, piece in. Now that we have 12 in, we're gonna move over here to finish off. And now we'll finish off tightening this one here. Now that we've set almost everything up, we have our final vertical support piece on the top. We're going to use the same exact pieces of hardware, and we're going to go from the bottom and from the top in. So out to in. We're going to start with number 13, which is the top. Now that we put number 13 in, now we're going to move to number 14 and the final screws that we're going to do for this ProRack. Now that we've put all the pieces together, the last thing we want to do before standing it up is go screw by screw and make sure that it's tightened to the level of pressure that we want it to be tightened to. Okay, so now that we've put the whole ProRack together, we're going to go back and we're going to make sure that we tighten all the pieces that need to be tightened to their accurate pressure. So grab your 2 tools and go back one by one. So we're gonna start with the last ones that we did. Now you wanna go back and you wanna get your other tool and tighten the arms. Now that we have the ProRack completely set up and tightened, and now that we have the actual HomeCourse Pro screen here and unboxed, I'm going to now show you how to attach the unit and the screen to the ProRack. First thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need a measuring tape and something to mark with. We're going to measure about 15 3/4 inches from each of the arms to the end of the Pro screen. Now that we've marked where our brackets are going to go, I'm going to show you how to mount the brackets together, place them on the Pro screen, and then finally attach them to the ProRack. Right here you'll find all the tools you need to attach the Pro screen to the ProRack. You'll notice that these 4 brackets come with the ProRack. We're going to use the brackets that come with the ProRack. They are smaller than the other brackets that come with the screen. So be sure to use the brackets that come with the ProRack. These screws are going to be the same screws that come with the Pro screen. They come inside the screen they come inside the box of the Pro screen. Make sure to use the screws that come in the box of the Pro screen. Here's how you attach them. You take 2 pieces, you invert one of them, and you place them back to back this way. Now you're going to take screw in, washer, now that we've got one together, we're going to now put the second one. This is how one bracket should look when you're done. They both should look identical to this. Now that we have the two brackets set up the way we need to, we also need to get 2 more sets of screws, same as the ones you have here, to attach them to the ProRack. First, let's put these brackets on the actual Pro screen. The first one goes in with the bracket in front. The second one goes with the bracket in the back. Now we're going to go ahead and move them over to where they need to be. All you do is pick them up a bit and drag them. Once we position the first bracket where it needs to go based on our markings, we're going to position the second bracket the same. Perfect. Now that we've placed the brackets on the unit, you'll see that we've rolled the unit inside of the ProRack and we've moved the brackets to where they need to be based on the markings we made. We're going to use 2 longer screws with 2 nuts that you find in your ProRack box. These are the ones that you're going to use to attach the screen to the ProRack. First thing you're going to do is you're going to roll the screen back a bit. You can use your foot to prop it up, and then you're going to pull up the ProRack. Insert the screw, and then use one of the nuts to tighten. You don't need to tighten all the way just yet. We will do that right before we lift it up. Go to the next side and do the same exact thing. Tilt a bit, use your foot to prop it up. Screw goes in. The nut goes in as well. Now, once we have the Pro screen attached to the ProRack, we're going to go back and we're going to tighten those screws on top. We're going to use a hex wrench and a set of pliers to tighten the bolt that attaches the screen to the rack. Once you've done one side, you'll go back and do the other side. We've attached the Pro screen to the ProRack. Now comes the final part where we're going to now lift the unit from the middle and stand it up. I'm going to show you the proper way to lift that makes it easy to do it with one person. First, we're going to lift the unit and walk it slowly back. And that's it. Really simple, really easy. ProRack, Pro screen on the ProRack. Now you're ready to go. Now that we've attached the Pro screen to the ProRack and we've lifted the Pro screen up, now I'm going to show you how to lower the screen. Here you have a remote control that comes with batteries. It comes inside your Pro screen box. You load the batteries in and you just push down. As the unit comes down, you want to make sure that the bottom lands in front of the base of the ProRack. This helps keep the screen in place while using it. You simply come here as it's lowering and guide it in front of the base. Once the Pro screen is fully down, you're going to use the telescopic rod to open the arms. This rod can be twisted and extended if you need it, or it can be used in the same function it comes in, depending on your height and your use. So we're going to use a small part of this to push up and place it into the white ring and pull out. You'll see that there is a 45-degree angle, and there is also the full length 180 degrees. Now we'll go back and do the same thing to the other side. "45", 180 degrees. This is the 180-degree configuration that you can play with. If this is what you want to play with, you're free to go ahead and start playing. However, if you want to use the 45-degree configuration, I'll show you how to do that. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to bring it up, move it to 45 degrees. We're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. And now, to continue to use it, what we're going to do is we're going to take this here, part of the top netting, and we're going to attach it to this piece up here, which is a ring. It's very simple. It just goes through and comes back out. Let me show you how. Now that we've done one side, we'll go ahead and do the other. I'm going to show you how to close the screen. All you're going to do is do exactly what you did to open it, but the reverse. Pick it up, all the way closed. We're going to do the same thing to the other side. Pick it up, close it. One of the cool features of the Pro Screen is that you don't always have to have the remote control in order to close it. There's a little button right near the logo that I will show you how to open and close without a remote control.